Someone asked, to be successful in business during this COVID time, what would be the one thing that a business owner must do? That one thing is look for money that is available through untraditional sources. So do not shy away from asking for free money. Find out the newest update for EIDL, PPP, Executive Order. Find out new grants that are out there to get it for free. Talking about level the playing field, and your action of applying for grants is an action for leveling playing field for small businesses. And listen up for the upcoming webinars right here, right now. Let's go on to the update. There's so many things I want to cover today, and I'll try to get it all in within an hour. Okay, so the first one is executive order update. And remember, August 8th, Trump had a executive order came out. There were 4 items: unemployment benefit, eviction, payroll tax, and the student loan. And unemployment benefit, this is the one that people who claim unemployment benefit would get $400 extra. Out of the $400 extra, $300 is from FEMA funds, which is the federal money. The $100 is state match. So that requires states to come out of their own pocket. Some states are really struggling, but Minnesota signed up on August 28th. Iowa signed up on August 14th. Arizona was the first one signed up, and South Dakota, as far as we know, decided not to sign up. So basically, majority of the state are slowly coming into it. So people who applied for unemployment benefit would get $400 extra. And the second one in eviction, remember this executive order come out saying don't evict the renters, but the order itself has no teeth. It didn't really say much. So so there's no stopping from renters being evicted. So now, just 2 days ago, Trump administration had announced another order to suspend the eviction up to December 31st, 2020. But to do that, they want the renter to, to qualify for these 5 conditions. I'll tell you that the 5 conditions are so general and are so subjective. It's almost like the Christmas conditions for kids to get present. And but there is a form you can sign up. So I want to show you the form so you know where to go for that. And right, let me I want to show you what we have on the our why do I have what happened to me? What happened to me? All right, now we're good, right? Okay, so let me show you. So that's our website. So this is the form. This is the form. The 5 conditions is right here. And also, I want you to realize that it says that you sign the form and you give to the landlord. But here, this form also promises the landlord that, my house, you understand, I further understand that at the end of this temporary halt on evictions on December 31st, 2020, my housing provider may require payment in full for all payment that not made prior to during the temporary halt. And the failure to pay may make me subject to eviction pursuant to the state and local laws. So basically, you are promising your landlord that you will pay after December 31st, 2020. So that's the eviction one is coming out. So you do have temporary suspension, but it's not a exemption. It's not that you don't have to pay it anymore. Then with that, let's look at the payroll. The government Accountability Office, GAO, they have indicated that the Congress would overturn the payroll tax holiday. They call that payroll tax holiday because you remember the executive order saying that the employee at the company could ask employer, don't withhold the Social Security tax. That was 6.2% of their gross salary or income, right? So that you can request. It started in September already, but the GAO calls it payroll holiday, and that is not a forever. You don't have to pay. It is a suspension, just like eviction. It's like you don't have to pay from September to December, but in 2021 you need to pay to the government. So that is a executive order really hard for employer to implement. Many employer already voiced concerns. What if the employee is no longer working at the company in 2021? Who is responsible for that taxes that wasn't paid? So it wasn't really it wasn't a very easy to process benefit for the employee. So the payroll tax holiday has been criticized for only providing temporary cash flow to workers, and that will eventually be due back to the federal government. So even the government agency is saying it is not so great. So they're thinking that this would not go. So payroll taxes, just scratch that out of your mind. And I don't think it will ever become something tangible. And the employers had a real hard time to process. Payroll company, like those big payroll company, they don't even know what to do. It's too much of a change in a very short time. So that executive order is kind of wasted. And then the next one you have is student loan. And this one, no issue. The original order was clear to extend the loan payment from September. It was ending on September, the end of September, now extended to December. So those are pretty cool. So this is update for executive order. Okay. Now let's look at the other one, the PPP updates. PPP updates. We know that as a small businesses, we know we got two steps, right? The first step, you get the loan, and you went to a bank, you applied for loan. And then now, keep in mind the day you receive the loan, you have 24 weeks to spend it properly. So on that day you finish your 24 weeks, then you have 90 days to apply for forgiveness. Don't miss your timeline. Okay, so when you apply with the bank, and that is where a lot of issues are coming up, because when you got the loan, the PPP from the bank was receiving commissions from SBA. Now, when you apply for PPP forgiveness, if banks submit your PPP forgiveness incorrectly, let's say your application had certain things that bank did not see overlooked, the bank is potentially subject to penalty from SBA. So they don't have any gain. They have only liabilities to talk about if they don't do it right. So with that, there are complaints on the street. People say that, well, small businesses with PPP loan, they couldn't really get it forgiven. And because there's so much fees out there, and the CPA firm is charging a fee, and we can, I go to the bank said, no, not good. So folks, I want you to understand, when you apply for PPP forgiveness, you work with the bank, and you need to be prepared because the bank has to do their due diligence in order them to submit the loan to SBA. In order SBA doesn't come back to them and say, no, and this one should not be forgiven. And so the bank has that responsibility. You can imagine that what small business owners are doing. They couldn't get through to the bank, then they come back to their service provider. Then there it goes, they ended up paying fees. So this is what should be stopped. This is what the Congress should approve, that 150,000 and below PPP, that should be an easy process for small business. So this is where the update I give you is that is still pending. That is not there. And they are the Congress in the deadlock, and they couldn't agree on anything. So someone even saying that maybe it has to wait after election. So however, whatever, small businesses are kind of sitting on the hot stove and they needing to figure out the result. We have fires to put off, right? So at this time, I just want you to know that if you can wait, you wait for after election. If you have loans that less than 150,000, you can wait, you wait. Because after election, there may be something coming out that would allow you to sign one form. I want to show you what that one form looks like, because this is what the proposal on the table and it could never get through. And I have a statistic data to share with you before we move on to the actual form I want to show you. You see, with PPP loan, and there's 86% of the loans from the PPP are for loan less than $150,000. Vastly majority of the loans are small amount, smaller than 150,000, of which represents only 23% of the total money giving out. So the focus of compliance, the forgiveness application being complex and being difficult, that should apply to people and who are outside of that 23% of the money. So majority of the small business who has under 150,000, they really should have a simpler process. So let me show you what we really need to, what really the form gonna be if we have this one going through. So this is the Paycheck Protection Program loan forgiveness application. If the Congress stop fighting and we can get into agreement, then it will be one form just like this. You will verify everything, sign, and you're done. So it is not going to go through all of the details right here and with all of the schedules behind. And you know, our firm, we actually finished a PPP loan forgiveness application for a business with $3.5 million PPP loan. And I'll just give you the number of pages that going with that application. It was total of 1,257 pages. Okay, so those are the correct things to do. And the government should put emphasis on there instead of small business. We are already struggling with money, and now they want us, they want to make us feel so incapable. So we have to hire someone to do our loan application. So you wait. So that would be my advice, right? You wait until you could, until the country clear of what to do with PPP. And EIDL update. The application is still open for COVID-19 EIDL loan. And EIDL advance discontinued in July. Everybody know, even though now you get your EIDL loan, you don't get that 10,000 advance. And right now, there is a Senate bill 4227 and being introduced. That bill says that for those EIDL loan and small business applied earlier, if you have one employee, they give you $1,000 advance. If you have two, you got $2,000 advance. And those dollars, there is a bill sitting there, introduced, and says that if you got that $1,000, and it will give, the SBA will give you the other 9,000, because that's what the original promise was. So let me show you what I mean by that, because you want to see what I have here. This is SBA loan for that COVID-19 EIDL loan This is the application, all right? And I want to lead you here because I want you to know that it's still open. You see here, expiring date, September 30th, 2020. And now this is the bill I was talking about. See, 4227. So did you see my bill? Did I show you my screen? I want to make sure. Okay, so maybe I didn't show you the EIDL loan screen. This is the SBA EIDL loan screen. And see, this is the bill. That is Senate 4227, EIDL for Small Business Act. And right here, see, it tells us the progress of this bill. Like when I come here, I know that where we are because they just introduced it. They need to pass the Senate, they need to pass the House, then they need to go through the president, then they become a law. So it's a long way to go, right? But I want you to see here. This is one I highlighted because right here it says that, and it says that with respect to any recipient of a advance, that they're talking about that advanced EIDL loan under this subsection, and the administration shall, not later than 15 days after the date of enactment of the act, which is this one, and provide to the recipient additional advance such that the total amount received by the recipient be a 10,000. So that means if you got 1,000, you're gonna get the other 9,000. If you get 9,000, you're gonna get the 1,000. So they want to restore the original promise that SBA was giving to small businesses. So this is where the EIDL loan is at. So we're waiting for the Senate bill to pass. The Senate, the House, the President become a law, and if it did, people, small businesses that got EIDL loan will have a break because you will start seeing additional dollar deposited in your bank account. So now let's go to our next section, and let me share my screen again. So this webinar, we're updating executive order, PPP, and EIDL loan, and also grants. So now we come to the grants. Grants is free money. So what I have here is I want to summarize for you. We have a national funding right here, and we have our team work on searching those grants for you every day to make sure that we capture things that coming up and expire the one that is already done. So we give you new leads here. And we have Iowa funding, Minnesota, and the Illinois funding is also coming up. And we are doing a webinar in Chinese on Monday that is all about Illinois funding. And you can follow us on YouTube and subscribe to our YouTube because we are rolling out webinars on free money for every state that we have clients. So every state that we have more than 100 clients, we're going to put out a webinar regularly for the free money. And it is important because, like I said, when we are in this special time, and we, people don't come across pandemic every other years, right? Special time. And during this time, business really need to be open-minded. You can't be thinking of traditional way of making money. You need to be open-minded to find untraditional source for your money. So applying for funding, that's one of the way to do it. And I want you to overcome that small business owner pride. And we're so self-sufficient, right? We never ask money, we never borrow money. We're just a bunch of self-sufficient individuals and leading a team that is all doing so great. But At this time, we need to realize that those funding are available out there. If you don't get it, someone else get it. And we're talking about leveling the playing field, right? You don't want to be in disadvantage just because you don't know there are grants available. If you know there are grants available, you don't do it, you don't want it, that's okay. I make that decision too. I didn't apply for all of them. I did one or two, and so far I didn't get any, but I made that decision to do it. So you need to make that decision to do it. So our first one is a Business for All grants, and this one is apply for grants up to 50,000. There's a 50,000 and a 10,000. The 50,000 one is due on September 25th, 2020. Okay, today is September 19th, so we have a week, right? And that 10,000 emergency grant is on rolling basis, just means that it's always coming. So what I will do, I'll go through the national grants on my slides, then I will go to the website together instead of toggling in between, and I felt like I'm a little clumsy today on that. I thought I practiced it, but didn't work as I planned. So you have the website here, and we on our YouTube channel, and we will list all of these websites for you, so you can go on to check. Subscribe our website, subscribe our YouTube channel, Community CPA, and make sure you like it and share our channel with others, and let more people know the knowledge we're sharing here. And this is Business for All grants. The next one is Urban Excellency Community Grant. This one is a monthly rolling every 15th of each month. So you always have it. And know that this one, it gives you $1,000 cash and also offer you 500 hours of business consultation from Kayla Brown for a year. And I always tell people that when you work on small business, those free hours of consulting time, very valuable. You may think that, well, what do I consult? Well, if you have a free consulting hours you use, you could be looking at your tax structures. You could be looking at whether your partnership is the most optimal, and you can get a lot done and out of the area that you have never heard of. You could be even thinking, well, this consulting time is for my internal control. You don't think that's important? Of course it is important. And all of the small businesses, I will tell you, have internal control issues. How many of the small business owners at some point of time realize someone is stealing money? And I will say that majority of them. Okay, so that's internal control. So a lot of things that you may not think of, but those professional people would. So this is a good program to apply. And the third one, Black Business Grant. This grant, it gathers momentum. A lot of big companies are giving money to this nonprofit, and they are doing 2020 to 2023, 5,000 per applicants program for 3 years. 5,000, that is 280 applicants. And you need to be Black-owned small business, 51% or more ownership, and 3 to 2 employees, and located in vulnerable community. And the website gives you all the details. And the initial interest form is very easy to fill out. That is September 21st, folks, and it's not many days left, but please put it in. And if you are selected to put in the full grants requirement, that's later, but right now they're gathering interest. Then you have Synchrony Pillars project. This one is like a marketing project. What happened is, if you use a certain credit card, I think it's Synchrony credit card, kind of merchant service product, and they are the one that's selecting the business, and they will highlight you in their called Symphony Envision conference. So they do your marketing, they give you 10,000. So I can think of my dermatologist clients, plastic surgeon clients, and the people who use Care Credit, and the people who are using this merchant account. Some of those construction companies also use it. So these are people that you can easily apply. I will show you the website. Let's just go through them. Underwriting exposed competition, folks. Underwriting exposed simply means that to expose how bank does underwriting to you. So it is an event that Immigrant Entrepreneur Summit is a nonprofit organization, and they put together for how many years? 14 years already. So they require you to be first generation of immigrant business owner. They require you to have made less than $10,000 in gross sales in the last 12 months. And if you qualify this too, and put in your name, and the due date is September 25th, and you win 5,000 towards to your business. So 5,000 you will win, and that you take to your business, spend any way you want it. Okay, so that is something very exciting, and it's actually the event is virtual, and you can, compete virtually. It will be fun. And the Stardust Startup Factory Micro Grant awards 6 micro grants a year to emerging entrepreneurs and the startup groups who need some seed money to get started. Who doesn't need seed money to get started, right? And so they want to, this particular grants require the industry to fall in the area of health, environmental sustainability, and the learning. Environmental sustainability, we have clients who are the recycling, waste recycling businesses. Those would qualify for that. Learning are the adult learning center and all the other learning entities that would qualify. Health, needless to say. And so those are the people who can apply, and must be implemented within 12 to 18 months after they receive the funding. Then the due date is the 21st, coming up really fast. Cost Forward Foundation grant. This is a 5,000 worth in training and services for 2 months, and to launch and grow your business. This is the one that I would call it more in-kind grant. So they give you value on what you're getting. They're saying that 60 high-level training and courses from business expert. So there's a value, and a copy-paste template workbook system that you would get. And I'm imagining those templates, for example, maybe mileage tracking and, business processing, and those kind of things are in there. And a daily question and the answers for 2 months with a coach. That's cool. Weekly live training and a question and answers. So very short application due on September 20th. Amber Grant for Women, okay? And Amber Grant for Women is giving away 10,000 every month. This is this is a rolling one as well, but the next application cutoff is September 30th. Review monthly. There is a small fee, but this is for women entrepreneurs, okay? And then Galaxy of Star Grants. This one is supporting minority women-owned business, and 1,000 Galaxy grant. The winner will be announced on January 2021. This is the form. So now let's go. Let's see our internet, what we have to offer. So remember, this is business for all. That's our first one. And you will apply here, and our website is right here on the screen, and we actually have that on PowerPoint so you can get. Then the second one is Caleb Brown Venture Capital LLC. Remember this one, They are providing 500 hours on the consulting, and they give you, I think they give you $1,000 cash. And in here, and it also says that you the grant application, it is very simple to apply. So this is the grant application, is one page. Okay, so you can easily get that done and apply for it. And then the other one we had talked about is this Back Black Businesses. It has a really cool website to lead you without getting you very confused. It says how it works, right? You check your eligibility and you express your interest right now. See, September 21st, you need to express your interest. Then you will be selected. Then you can do application review, and getting grants, right? So this is the website for Back Black Business Grant. The other one we were talking about, and this is the Peller's prize. Remember that Synchrony Envision conference, they will feature you. They give you $10,000 to put towards your business. This is where you enter. And here they actually give you a lot of information about how this grant works. Let me click here. I think I did. I went in here to see what are the basic requirement. See, I did have that. Where is that basic requirement? It talks about what kind of entity. This is a different grant, but oh, I'm not coming into the right place. But folks, come on, look at that care credit. I know that is part of that business. So make sure that you just come to this website and sort it out. There is a submission deadline, and I knew the business who uses the CARES credit is definitely eligible. So check into this one. The next one is the Immigrant Entrepreneur Summit. And just keep in mind of this logo. When you come over here, and there is an award, but that's not for the Underwriting Exposed. You come to Underwriting Exposed, okay? If you click that, it will give you the details of what you do. So it says to you that if you're a first-generation immigrant business owner and you make less money, 10,000 or less, and then you fill it up, see personal story, budget projection, business plan, you can finish that and you can upload your files and submit, and here it is, and $5,000. Folks, I see every year people walk away from the 5,000. Look at this guy, he got the 5,000. Okay, Wells Fargo is the sponsor for that 5,000. So make sure you apply. And this is the Stardust Startup Factory. This is the one that I was telling you. They are giving the Stardust, they're giving you, they're giving you 2,000 grants, and they require you to spend that within a year and a half. That due date is September 21st. So they want you to apply, and they also have a very interesting website. So they're here, they're guiding questions for you, and what is my project, and what is the problem I am aiming to solve. So they guide you to know whether you are you are eligible to put in. Then you can format your proposal, and here you can send in your application form, right? So this is the Stardust Startup Factory, and it, the picture itself looks that way to me, and they're very they're kind of dusty, but they're just wanting to make it special for the viewers, for the applicant. So this one is the business, is the grant that called Cost Forward Foundation. And this is the one give you all the in-kind match receive over 5,000 worth in training and services. Okay, so here is the grant, and it tells you how to apply. And the next one is the Amber Grant for Women Entrepreneur. This is the one we talked about due at the end of September. It is a rolling grant, remember, for 10,000. And out of the 10,000, monthly winner, and you also have an annual winner. So every year they do another one. So out of the 10,000 one of you will be selected to win the annual one. That is 25,000. So if you are really doing great with this grant, your total is actually 35,000. Should never let that go if you're a lady entrepreneur. So the last one for national grant is a Galaxy one. Galaxy one is 1,000. Remember they announced that on January the 1st, 2021. So this is the website, and it looks like this, and you enter to win. So this is the winner who won before. So make sure the last winner. So you want to make sure that you look into this as well. So now we covered all 9 of the national grants. We're going to go into grants available in state of Iowa. So in state of Iowa, I have a couple of sites to show you. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 sites to show you because they're all relevant free money for you. Okay, the first one is through EIDL, and this is to assist bars and taverns and other establishments that got impacted by the August 27 executive order. So they were closed. So with that, and out of those businesses are located in the following counties: Black Hawk, Dallas, Johnson, Lynn, Polk, Story County. Okay, so those county, and you are qualified to apply for this grant, 10,000 from September 10th to September 24th. So don't miss out. This is the website I'm showing you, and you can check here to apply. The second one, it is what we call the Utility Disruption Prevention Grant. This is the one that the state will give. You will write a check to the utility company. If you apply, prove that you have this utility bill to pay. And so this program just give you a short-term relief to eligible small businesses and a nonprofit facing significant hardship in the payment of utility bills. Come on, if you are a nonprofit and small business, can you just gathering up your utility bill and apply? Okay, that's very unique, and I don't find that in other states, but Iowa has it. Then the next one is from a trade. Is for a trade section. It's for dentists from a insurance company. Delta Dental give that to dental offices. So there's 2,000 for individual dental practice. So if someone is a practice as dentist but under sole proprietorship with a Schedule C, you got 2,000 if you apply, and 4,000 for multiple dental offices. So if you have a dental practice with multiple locations, you apply for 4,000. So that is out there for you. Then for Des Moines, the Community Foundation also have this Greater Des Moines Strategic Coalition, a collaboration grant. And this is a grant that require the nonprofits to collaborate, to be 2 or more organizations together, and they're funding on rolling basis. So there is no deadline for that, but you can apply to be granted for efforts that you make related to to leadership building, and it's right here. And Better Together grant, leadership grants, collaboration grant. So someone go in, study more to get that money for yourself, right? And then the last one in the state of Iowa is this Des Moines, Iowa grant from Microsoft Community Empowerment Fund. This one ends on September 25th, so in about a week. And the grant program priority include digital literacy, environmental accessibility, workforce development, okay? And with focus on projects that promote social, economic, and civic equity in Des Moines area of community. I mean, it is a very broad category. I mean, civic equity, that would including diversity, you know, programs and the things that would get, you know, different community connected together. So there's just so much you can do. Digital literacy, education, and the training centers who has digital literacy side of education that would qualify for empowerment fund from Microsoft. Please do apply, and it is right here. If you go down, a starting date is first, ends on the 25th. Type of funds you see is 10,000, 10,000 to 30,000. Priority funding category, and they like some company coming in to address all of it. So it's not even just, it is not just one category, and it's better to have all of them covered. So this is the details right here, folks, okay? And that concludes the Iowa side of grant. So I have two more to cover for Minnesota. And with the state of Minnesota and Otto Bremer Trust. Otto Bremer Trust is a trust funds that private trust funds that giving to the commonwealth and the common good. So this is where the funds for nonprofit qualification comes in. So they're funding specifically for a cause. So there's total of $50 million established, and it is asking for application. If you are a nonprofit, and you really should go for it. And here is an initial inquiry here. So you don't have to worry about lengthy application. In the end, you don't get it, what to do. And there is an initial inquiry. And this one is actually not just for Minnesota. This particular CBFC Emergency Fund for Nonprofits is actually provide financial support to also to Wisconsin, North Dakota, and Montana. And just keep in mind, so it's not just Minnesota, and it's also for other states. And this decision is on rolling basis, and I will provide funds as soon as practical timing to follow through the grants agreement coming into place. So there's no specific timeline. It's just there. That funds is there available. The $50 million has been there, and it's just a decision for COVID time that is earmarked for the community benefit type of initiative. So make sure that you look into it. It includes Minnesota, Wisconsin, North Dakota, Montana nonprofit, and other community organizations impacted by COVID-19. Okay. Then the second one for Minnesota, and that one is what we called Launch Minnesota Innovation Grant. This is targeted to the most promising, innovative technology business in Minnesota. Grant application will continue to be reviewed on a rolling basis again, okay, until 1.6 million in fiscal year 2020 funding is fully used up. So applicants should receive one grant per biennial, means that the applicant can only get one grant every 2 years. So this is also a reimbursing, they reimburse the expenses incurred in Minnesota for research and development, okay? And the qualifying business receive grants not to exceed $35,000, which must be matched with recipients on dollar to dollar. So means that if you have a innovation expenses, for example, you have a factory, you invented a new thing, and that cost you $70,000 total, then this grant will pay half. They want to make sure you have the other half you actually spent. So this is the grant that I am talking about. Now, we want to kind of give you a good understanding of where, when we look for these grants, and where do we look into? Why, Ying, why do you have those resources? Where did you go? You figure that out. So I want to tell you that looking for grants is literally a full-time job, okay? And I understand how hard that is to really go through website, kind of scouring over all these information and making sure that it's not outdated. Sometimes you got super excited and then look into it, oh, it's already expired. So that happens, right? So of course, coming to a webinar like this one would help you, because that's our job. And we are here, we have a team here who spend time to figure out what's there. And the internet has one drawback, is everything in history is on the internet. So if you don't search smartly, you can search outdated information. And we have clients coming to us, will be so excited with certain things. And as soon as we hear that, we knew that was outdated already. But they just saw that on the internet, so they think it's new. And even Facebook pushes out things that's already gone. So make sure that you come into a real life webinar like this one. And because when we talk today is September 19. Everything we talk about today is effective. So when we do another webinar another time, these knowledge we have right here today will be, some of them will be expired. So you want to catch on knowledges by coming to webinars like this, coming to Community CPA, and looking at our website. And our website is also giving you a lot of information, because we show you what webinars we have right here, okay? And of course, on our YouTube channel, you are going to see all of our histories of all of our webinars. And why are you not going there? I mean, if you just busy, couldn't come out 3 o'clock because your kid needs you at this time, Saturday. Who want to work on Saturday, 3 o'clock? I want to have a nap, but we record it, so it's on internet, and you can always know what we have. So be a subscriber to our channel. That will allow you to see what's coming up, so you don't miss a bit. And the other thing we want to show you is you could also getting a grant alert by paying a small fee to those kind of organizations. I'm just going to show you one. Okay, this is the government grants for 2020 to 2021. And remember, the federal government normally come out grants from October to September. Their years is like that. So that's why the government grants goes like that, okay, 2020 to 2021. And you can come to this website to register. Then you have a monthly fee to pay, but they will, once you identify yourself, they will alert you when there is a grant that kind of, tie into what you're doing. And that would be a way to do it if you are just wanting to do that yourself. And you also should tap into 2 other websites regularly to know whether there is something for you. One is Community Foundation website. Every city has community foundations. So you just, if you're in Des Moines, you type in Des Moines Community Foundation, it will give you one. If you are in St. Paul, you type in St. Paul Community Foundation, even if their name is not exactly the same, but because the Community Foundation words are on there, so you will pull out those organizations. On there, they actually will tell you what's going on around the city, and so you can discover grant opportunities faster that way. And you also want to look at economic development website, which is the state government website, and go on there to see whether there's anything new. If there's nothing new, the website is going to be outdated because nobody gonna, what do? They don't do anything when there is nothing new. But if there is anything new, like we talked about in Iowa, there is a grant for the emergency shutdown for bars. And so that showed up on the website immediately. So those are the things you want to know what's going on with the government, and you can do the same with the city and the county. And if you tell me that your sale went down, you are not busy and your business is struggling, and I want to know how much time did you spend on looking for grants, because that is your other way getting sales. That is your other way getting paid. So don't look down this way, because this is a very special time. And we don't come across pandemic like this all the time. And right now, this is one way to make your business survive if you can get grants to support you bottom lines, okay? So with that, I want to say that these are advices we give to our client, and look into those things and make sure you stay on top of that. Make that your job. I know it is not your job, and I don't want to do that job either, but luckily I have 20 some people as a group, so we support each other. So it is someone's job in our firm to make sure that we knew what's going on out there. And I have final words for today's people who come into this webinar. And I want you to change your thinking in business. I know you're good with what you're doing. I know you're successful before. I also know that you're doing not as bad as what could be. But one thing you need to add onto your to-do is to understand what's going on at the government level. A lot of small businesses are really not political savvy, including myself. But I learned, I tried, I do my best to understand the bills. I do my best to know what's going on, and you should do that too. Because only when you know what's going on and you can sort of map out your steps. For example, we know what's going on with the PPP application. So we tell our small clients that you can wait, just wait. You are not late yet, because we want the Congress to make decision first before we spend a lot of money and time to prepare your applications for forgiveness, right? So if you have PPP that is under 150K, sit tight and wait for election to be over. However, if you already waited long enough and your PPP forgiveness application date gonna expire, then of course you don't want to wait. And you can be in contact with your bank, but be prepared. It is no way as easy as you getting the money. It will be way harder to get forgived than getting the money, because the mechanics is different. The bank is getting a different result. Getting your PPP money, they get commission, but getting your forgive, they could be liable for that. So that's a very different dynamic. So no wonder people who apply for forgiveness had all kind of problem right now, because banks are careful. So you are facing difficulties, very understandable. So take a critical look at what you're doing right now, and let's survive pandemics together. And I really want to see my small businesses that homed at community CPA continue to do well. I literally, if you are not doing well, if you are going to close or already closed, do you know that we have more than 9,000, probably 10,000 clients but I literally remember every one of the businesses that is gone. So I really don't want to see that. I want you to survive. I want you to follow Community CPA and listening to our webinar, learn. Okay, and I will see you again. I hope you learned a ton, and I really appreciate your time. And I will see you very soon. Bye-bye.